This place is full of love. You can tell the people that like to be with old people because they really take care of you good and are very kind.
Twice a day, every day, the activities people have an organized activity that's always interesting.
Everybody loves to play bingo. We play it 3 times a week here. We also have ceramics that you can paint. Really pleasant to live here. It's a good place to be.
We have serving you, Lord. We pray that you give us the guidance and the direction we need to go. Continue to work through each of us. Help us to make the right choices and continue to be with the city. Help it to grow. Help it to be an outstanding community to glorify your name, Lord. For we ask these things in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, everyone, we have a liquor license reading schedule or public hearing scheduled. Notice of application of bar and grill liquor license 2025 through 2026. Notice is hereby given that on the 16th day of May 2025, the following bar and grill licenses filled an application for a liquor license. Protests, if there be any, against the issuance of these licenses will be heard at the hour of 7:30 p.m. on Monday, June 2nd, 2025, in the Newcastle City Council chambers at City. So it's actually 7:30, scheduled for 7:30. Yeah, that's okay. Well, we'll go ahead and read this at 7:30. Well, we'll go ahead and move on to approval of the agenda. Does the council entertain a motion to actually, I need to make a couple of amendments. Excuse me. We need to add under committee and council member reports, we need to add board committee report. Also, report on 2nd Avenue and the backyard park. All under committee and council member reports. With that, does the council entertain a motion to accept or approve the agenda, the amended agenda, excuse me.
Mr. Mayor, I make a motion that we approve the amended agenda.
Is there a second?
Second.
We have a motion properly seconded. Is there any discussion? Is there any discussion? Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed signify by saying nay. Motion carries. Does the council entertain a motion to approve the minutes of the regular meeting of May 19th, 2025?
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion properly seconded. Is there any discussion? Is there any discussion? Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. All those opposed signify by saying nay. Motion carries. We'll go ahead and skip by the public hearing will be at 7:30. Is there any nominations for recognition? I have a nomination for recognition. I would like to see Scott Thompson, who works for the city shop, recognized for painting the cross at the cemetery I actually have a message from a citizen that pointed out this fact, and they thought that I had something to do with delegating that, and I did not. It was all Scott Thompson. He had heard some of the special interest groups complaining about the state of the specific cross at the cemetery. What's the cross called, Greg?
A cross.
It's just a cross at the cemetery.
At the cemetery.
Yeah, and so he took it upon himself to go on his lunch hour to paint the cross. And the city did end up talking him into allowing them to compensate him for his time that he spent over his lunch hour painting. But he was just gonna do it silently. And I think that acts like that for the betterment of our community should be recognized. So the message said, "Thank you so much for seeing to it the cross at the cemetery got painted. It was noticed and appreciated by everyone." But I did not do that. It was all Scott Thompson. So thank you, everyone. Is there any other certificates of nominations for recognition? Hearing none, we'll go ahead and move on to certificates of recognition, which there are none. And it looks like our budget hearing is advertised for 7:15, so we'll go ahead and jump forward to citizens business verbal. Item number 1, Rick Dunford, Weston County Planning Commission.
Excuse me. Good evening.
Good evening.
If I took my hat off, there might be a medical emergency. I just thought to stop by. I do this, I don't know, it's been a couple of years now since I've been here. But there have been some changes since I've seen you, and I thought I'd briefly tell you what's going on. You may remember there was been a business by the state, been around for a long time because of the folks up in the northwest part of the state about the sphere of influence. And that's the mile of influence that the city could, any city, municipality could exert over that mile, wherever it fell. It's not a perfect circle or anything like that. And overlay all the town ordinances, laws, and everything else in that sphere of influence. There was several court cases about it, and we were told that it had been made illegal because, for whatever reasons, at the state Supreme Court. Well then, in a matter that was, you may remember when Driscoll was involved in the water tank situation just up the hill, that sale of property that was going on there. Senator Driscoll informed me that the Cook County attorney had said that the sphere of influence was still in place if the county didn't have zoning. And of course, we don't have zoning in the county, so nobody knows. Several years ago, I asked for a ruling on that from the county attorney. Still have not received one. We renewed that request just a couple of weeks ago at the county. So we're not sure what the sphere of influence situation is, especially since we don't have zoning. What we have done in the past, if there's anything that affects you as a community, then we give you a second set of drawings or whatever to let you know what's going on, even without the sphere of influence. So it's something that's up in the air right now. We hope to get a ruling. We were told it doesn't work anymore, principally because we can't vote. I would live in the sphere of influence, but because of the way it was all set up, I couldn't vote in town elections, even though I would have to live under the rules and regulations of the town. So that may be where it ends up, who knows. One of the things that came out of my conversation with the county commissioners the other day was the fact that we are still running with a 3-person board. As you all know, volunteers are really tough to come by for boards. It's kind of a disaster in my opinion, but that's the way it is. But one of the things that did come up, Marty pointed this out, is that each municipality is allowed to have 1 member on the county planning committee. So if there's anybody in the community, the Newcastle community, city limits that wants to go on to the planning commission, they should apply. I'm gonna go to Upton and basically give this same speech to them and see if they have anybody that wants to be on the board. But you do have that opening, it's open now, so if anybody wants to participate at the county level, we'd sure like to have you do so.
So you just have one vacancy?
Two.
Two vacancies?
Yeah, so it could be that Upton and you guys both could put a person on the county planning commission. We still use the basic state statutes. There's been nothing added except a PUD, Plan Unit Development Group, because of the Wyoming flood, if you remember. The excitement with the Wyoming flood, and we did add a PUD section to the rules and regulations at that time, because a project that size typically is best done as a plan unit development. And it's just, I've been around these before, a lot of history with it, so they don't work as a big one-all development, because what happens is that the best pieces of land get sold first and the other ones never get done, and utilities and the tennis courts that should have been put in, it becomes a woulda, coulda, shoulda thing. So otherwise, it's all state statutes. What we're doing right now, a lot of, strangely enough, inheritance situations going on with land, ranches, pretty good sized pieces of ground. Today, the phone call was about 600 acres divided 3 ways. There's one south now that's in the same situation, but it's all 20 acres. So everybody's exempt. And that's the first thing. Oh, we're exempt. We don't have to do anything. So that's typically not true. But anyway, that's what's been going on. Not a lot of big stuff since the one just above Frontier subdivision we did, if you recall that whole thing. Interestingly, the mailing charge was 3 times the filing fee for that project because of the rules and requirements for notification. It was almost $1,000 just to mail out all of it, all the notices. So, any questions that I can answer?
Is there a plan or a scope of anything about that construction that's going on 85 going south up on the hill?
No, sir. Not in the planning process. I wouldn't know about that anyway.
They didn't tell you anything, they just...
No. Well, they would. That's not a planning function of ours anyway. It's like any wind farm, any of that sort of thing. We have no zoning, period. That's the strange thing. The other thing, you get a fair amount of phone calls about towers, radio towers. What's our zoning for radio towers? Well, of course, we don't have it. So it's just one of those things that I think we're behind the curve, not paying some attention to the whole future energy thing and that sort of thing. So we're waiting for the AI warehouse, which will cover what, 4 square miles. Anything else? Thank you.
Well, thank you. Thank you. Appreciate your coming.
Have a good one.
You too. Thanks, Rick.
I don't know that we'll get through the next agenda item before we have to do our mandatory 7:15 appropriation resolution, so everybody just hang tight for a minute and we'll get to that at 7:15 sharp. it is now 7:15. Budget hearing as advertised at 7:15 and ordinance number 3, series 2025 taxation. Whereas, appropriation resolution, whereas on the second day of June 2025, the City of Newcastle, the Budget Making Authority, prepared a city budget for the 2025-2026 fiscal year ending June 30th, 2026. Whereas such a budget was duly entered at large upon the records of this council, and a copy thereof was made available for public inspection at the office of the city clerk, and whereas a notice of public hearing on such budget, together with a summary of said budget, was published in the Newsletter Journal, a legal newspaper published and of general circulation in the county on the 22nd day of May 2025, and whereas a public hearing was held on such budget at the time and place specified in said notice, at which time all interested parties were given an opportunity to be heard, and whereas following such public hearing, no alterations or revisions were made in such proposed budget, now therefore be it resolved by the council that the city budget be adopted as the official city budget for the fiscal year ending June 30th, 2026. Be it therefore resolved that the following appropriations as provided for be made for the fiscal year ending June 30th, 2026, and the expenditures of each office, department, and spending agency be limited to the amount herein appropriated. So in details of general fund requirements, the total general fund requirements are $4,223,398. Details of water fund requirements, total water fund requirements are $2,967,900. Details of sewer fund requirements, total sewer fund requirements are $1,974,100. Details of garbage fund requirements, total garbage fund requirements are $1,721,300. Total appropriations of $10,886,698. Does the council entertain a motion to approve the appropriations resolution?
Move.
Do we have a second?
I'll second it.
We have a motion properly seconded. Is there any discussion?
I'd like to ask a question about the airport. I thought we had put that $4,000 that they asked for last year, we went ahead and decided to go ahead and give it to them this year. I thought that came up. And then I remember that we were thinking about doing that. And we turned it down last year, but we said we were going to go ahead and do it this year. And we had a general consensus right here. Am I hallucinating or is this? Do any of you remember that? Because he was standing right there and we said, oh yeah, we'll go ahead with that $4 grand. 4 to 300, I think it was.
If I recall, Tom, I thought that there was some discussion about some of the board committee members attending a meeting with them to discuss it in greater detail.
I did, and I went, and I got a report about it tonight, and I was surprised to see that this is fixed today. And I was kind of surprised, because I went to their board meeting, and I brought back a lot of information for us that I wanted to discuss tonight. But anyway, so is it, if this is fixed, I mean, this is, if we change this, we have to go back through all the advertisements again, and I don't know.
Yeah, and it needs to be completed before the end of the month. So,
I want to remember, I guess, us having a final conversation of we were adding that into the budget.
I thought we did that.
I guess that other side of it that we didn't get.
It was the meeting before last, and he'd come in, and it was just the one board member, and he spoke with us, and I thought there was supposed to be some follow-up and a recommendation made. And then I just never heard any further discussion on it.
Okay, I just, anyway, okay.
Is there any further discussion? I don't think that we're gonna be able to fix it now. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. All those opposed signify by saying nay. Motion carries. And now we'll go ahead and move on to ordinance number 3, series 2025. An ordinance providing for revenue to be raised by taxation with the city of Newcastle, Wyoming for the fiscal year ending June 30th, 2026. Be it ordained by the governing body of the city of Newcastle, Wyoming. Do I need to read it in its entirety? So, general purpose, 8 mills. Redemption of bonds, none. Bond interest, none. Total to be raised by taxation, 8 mills. And I'll go ahead and read the proclamation. I, Tyrell Owens, Mayor of the City of Newcastle, Wyoming, proclaim that Ordinance 3, Series 2025, passed on the... Do I have to read it after it's passed, Ellen?
For the ordinance, and we have the, it is the 15-1-116. It will be passed on this date after.
So go ahead and read the proclamation, or read it after it's been passed.
I would read the proclamation first, and then we can have it passed.
Okay. Sorry about that, folks. All right. I, Tyrell Owens, Mayor of the City of Newcastle, Wyoming, proclaim that Ordinance 3, Series 2025, passed on the 2nd day of June 2025 on emergency basis in accordance with Wyoming State Statute 15-1-115, operates for the immediate preservation of the public peace, safety, or welfare, and pursuant to Wyoming Statute 15-1-116, it shall be effective immediately, and thereafter it shall be published as soon as possible according to law. Dated the 2nd day of June 2025, Tyrell Owens. Does the council entertain a motion to pass ordinance number 3, series 2025?
Mayor, I make a motion that we pass ordinance number 3, 2025 as presented.
Second.
We have a motion properly seconded. Is there any discussion? Is there any discussion? Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. All those opposed signify by saying nay. Motion carries. Okay. Okay, moving on to citizens' business in writing. Item number 1, Clearwater Experts Inc. public license. The following requested plumbing license for plumbing contractor Clearwater Experts Inc. Master plumber Clay Massey, apprentice plumber Bryce Foley, and apprentice plumber Chandler Curtis. All fees have been paid, copies of their license and proof of insurance and bond have been provided for 2025. Do we have a motion to accept the plumbing license for Clearwater Experts?
I move that we accept that license for Clearwater.
We have a motion properly seconded. Is there any discussion? Is there any discussion? Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. All those opposed signify by saying nay. Motion carries. Moving on to, actually, moving on to item number 2, 21 electric journeyman plumbing license. The following requested plumbing license for journeyman plumber Michael Patterson for 21 Electrics LLC. All fees have been paid. Copies of their license and proof of insurance and bond have been provided for 2025. We have a motion to approve the journeyman plumber license for Michael Patterson. Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a motion properly seconded. Is there any discussion? Is there any discussion? Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed signify by saying nay. Motion carries. I mean, we might have to act on the barking dog ordinance tonight. So,
During the meeting,
There-
quickly.
dog barking a lot. Okay, moving on to old business, which there's none. New business, none. Moving on to committee and council member reports. I got a gift for the council. It's a book that I just recently finished called 13 Ways to Kill Your Community. It's a tongue-in-cheek treatise on the things not to do to kill your community, and I found it pretty inspiring.
I have one.
Yeah,
You want it back?
I'll take my copy back. You go down. Hopefully it can provide the council with some good ideas. I thought it was pretty inspiring.
I've read it. It's a cool book, and I like the way the guy writes, and,
Thank you, Ty.
You're welcome.
This is nice of you.
If you don't want your copy, you can give it back to me, but.
I want one.
Yeah, I found it inspiring. Each chapter is a topic, like some of the things that we face here in town. Like one of them's titled "Don't Paint," right? So if you don't want people to move to your community, or you don't want, then you leave your community in a state of disrepair. And we have some ordinances right now that aren't being complied with, and we just recently got ourselves an ordinance officer, so there'll be more to follow there. The first chapter is forget about the water. Every civilization's built around water. Without water, you can't have a community. So the steps that we're taking to try to repair our distribution system and take care of our water system is important for public health and having a thriving community. So anyway, you guys will just have to let me know what you think. Or you don't have to read it. I just thought it'd be cool. So I'll go ahead and move on to 2nd Avenue. There's a
whole lot of people in jails and prisons in Wyoming who really didn't mean to do anything wrong, but they screwed up and they did. But apparently Becky Hadlock and other elected officials in Wyoming are in fact above the law. At least that's what I think the governor showed us with his decision.
And I think he did too. And I think he makes it blatant by avoiding the clear violation of the law. The rest of it, you can, yeah, she got the testing done. It was at the last minute, at the last chance, and she failed it. But she did submit the report on the day, even though it was like 11:59 or whatever. You know, like
Right.
there's some ways you could finagle the other things, but he blatantly ignores the malicious intent and the felony committed.
And he jumps through so many hoops to let her off.
I'll go ahead and move on to 2nd Avenue. I was contacted by a citizen that was complaining about the rate of speed that people are driving on 2nd Avenue. I followed up with the Public Works Director and her supervisor and the police chief and just asked if maybe we could have some more patrols on 2nd Avenue and possibly some more signage. So I just wanted to let everybody know that I followed up on that customer complaint. And then moving on to the backyard park. It's 7:30. So we'll go ahead and stop for a second and move on to the public hearing is advertised for 7:30 for D Antlers LLC request for bar and grill number 3 liquor license. Notice of application of bar and grill liquor license 2025-2026. Notice is hereby given that on the 16th day of May 2025, the following one bar and grill license filed an application for a liquor license. Protests, if there be any, against the issuance of these licenses will be heard at the hour of 7:30 p.m. on Monday, June 2nd, 2025 in the Newcastle City Council chambers at City Hall, Newcastle, Wyoming. I guess, are there any protests? Hearing none, we'll move on. Bar and Grill number 3D Antlers LLC, 205 West Main Street, Newcastle, Wyoming, 82701, Lot 7 and 8, Block 6, Original Edition, Weston County, Wyoming, 16th day of May, 2025. Do we need a motion to approve the liquor license? Yes. Okay. Do we have a motion to, okay. I'll sign it later. Okay, do we have a motion to approve the liquor license?
I move to approve D Antlers LLC request for bar and grill number 3 liquor license.
Okay. Do we have a second? Second. We have a motion properly seconded. Is there any discussion? Is there any discussion? Is there any discussion?
I got a question, but it's just, once you pass this, once you're done with this.
Okay. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed signify by saying nay. Motion carries. We approve the liquor license for Antlers.
Restaurant license.
Bar and grill.
Yeah, bar and grill.
Bar and grill license.
They can do wine and beer, right?
They can do everything.
They can do alcohol, they can't sell retail.
I've been to a meeting recently where I heard that they're trying to open the Antlers portion of the Antlers up as a bar again.
My question is, I see that's number 3. How many more bar and grill licenses are available? Do you happen to have that?
I would have to double check with the liquor division, Bruce, but I think there's one.
One more left though? Okay, and then, and like I said, it has all the restrictions, there's nothing changed over the years on these? Because I understand that, they can't sell package out, they can't cater because it's a bar and grill. Grill has to be open, for the bar to be open, and things like that. Have all those, nothing's changed over the years?
To my knowledge, it is all the same.
It used to be that so much of percentage of your income had to be food too.
Correct.
Because
I think it's 30% alcohol and the rest has to be food. If I remember correctly, I may not.
Okay. Does anybody have anything further? No? Okay, moving on to, sorry, last item, backyard park. I've been in contact with Dalton with American Ramp. They're working on the design for backyard park, but they need to do a tree inventory. And so one of the members of the Vent Sprockets is going to do a tree inventory on the proposed site so that you can figure out which trees that they want to keep so they can design the facility around the trees that they want to keep. So that's in the process right now, and once the tree inventory is completed, then they'll be able to move forward with the design and get the design completed so that we can move forward with trying to procure funding to get the park going. And the folks on Vent Sprockets have a few people that are pretty good at writing grants. And then there's specific grants that they're looking at that we might be able to have a good shot at getting some money from the state to get the park open. And that's all I have on that, so we'll move on. Does anybody have any questions?
I have a question. I thought that was already designed.
No, so we paid for the design, but they hadn't completed, that was, the original design that you might be referencing was something that was paid for by the prior mayor.
Right.
She just had a concept drawing made just so that she could kind of illustrate the point of what it was gonna look like.
Because tall grass was involved.
Yeah, tall grass drew up a concept design. It wasn't the actual
And
design.
so that's what we're doing now.
Yeah, so American Ramp is a company that designs
Those
bike
things.
parks.
Okay.
Yeah, and skate parks specifically.
All right. Thank you.
Yes. Is there any other questions? No. Okay, moving on to board committee report.
Hi. I had a meeting with the airport board, and I went there, and I called you. You're not on the airport board, or
Don't
whatever.
point at me.
Well, I did call you to come with me, but I just remembered that you're not on the board. Anyway, you have before you this. I was there at the meeting, and I'm sitting next to the treasurer, and I'm noticing this colored stuff he's got in his little satchel. And I said, well, what is that? And he pulls it out, and I'm looking at some fantastic information that I don't know why we haven't had this before and why they wouldn't have given it to us before. But this information is put together by the Federal Aviation Administration, and they do a report about every 7 years. And you can see on the front page, the 2013 report, like employment in 2013, the state of Wyoming was 12,000. In 2020, it was 21,000. It almost doubled. And this report was made in 2020, and the next one's going to come out in 3 years, I think, from now. And if you look at Weston County in this, they have, let's see, Mundale Field, the visitors were 1,872. When they say employment, the employment of people in the city of Newcastle that are directly involved with the airport. And they're employed because we have an airport. And then the payrolls that go out in the community because of the airport, part-time and full-time, is about $500,000. The spending from overall on the airport was $1.7 million. The economic activity was $2.3 million, and the state and local sales tax we received from the airport or by airport sales was $75,600, and that was in 2020. So next time we ask ourselves, well, what's the airport good for? Here's the facts, kids. This thing it's not a gold mine, but it certainly is an asset to our community. I had no idea it was this good. I just like airplanes, but they're coming up with facts and figures here, and the FAA has no reason to lie to us. And anyway, I don't intend to take up any more of your time. Read it, go through it. They kind of explain how they set up the categories and how they judge them, and it's right in there. So enjoy. And I had to make the copies in color. I just had to do it because they were so pretty. They did such a good job. So anyway, enjoy. And next time, if you have questions, I think we can ask that board when they come back to see us. And I, honest to God, thought we could give them that $4,000 tonight, but I guess we can't. So, we have to.
It is kind of odd that they haven't shown us something like this.
Isn't it?
I mean,
Isn't it
they're
just-
coming here asking for money, and we ask them what they do for us.
Yeah.
Really?
And yeah, we've asked several times, you know, and this was sitting there, and I'm glad I found it, but
That all would have been useful information.
it was sure as heck would have.
Thanks. Does anybody have any further questions for Councilman Boss?
Thank you, Tom.
The sandwich that's at the airport, never mind.
Moving on to department head reports. Item number 1, Public Works Supervisor Greg Stone.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. My first item, Enberg Miller Engineers. When we do the Winfield emergency replacement of that water main that keeps breaking, we will need an engineering firm to do the as-built plans after we're done. Contacted a couple, 3 different engineering firms, got proposals. Enberg Miller Engineers was one of the better ones. That was actually the best priced one, and we've worked with them in the past, we're working with them currently. Their price is $23,000. This does include the bore permit and work permit we'll need from YDOT, as well as any easement work that we need done as well. I recommend we the mayor sign the agreement with Enberg Miller for the Winfield Street and South Summer emergency water main replacement.
Does the council entertain a motion to have me sign the agreement with Enberg Miller?
I'll move to have you sign the Enberg Miller proposal for the Winfield project.
We have a motion properly seconded. Is there any discussion? Is there any discussion?
Just like to note in there the cost of it, so it's in the public knowledge of $23,000.
You go ahead and make the motion.
What's the cost of the project?
Right. The first leg of the materials, first phase of the materials is $120,000 estimate.
Okay. And the labor? You don't
The labor we're gonna do in-house, I do not have an estimate on it.
Okay, so these guys are asking for almost 25% of the budget.
That's not including the portion where we will have to bore underneath the highway and reconnect back on West Park Street.
Okay.
That portion of the materials is gonna be significantly more, but we cannot estimate the cost of that pipe until we get a hold of it, until we get a proposal back from somebody that does the boring.
Okay.
We've got feelers out right now to a couple different companies, waiting for them to respond on the cost to do the boring.
Is there any further discussion?
We have a typographical error on here.
Yeah, I see that on notice.
So not notice up at RE.
So summer instead of summer?
Oh,
Is that a deal breaker?
No, it's just an error.
Just an error?
Picky.
It's a duck out of,
That's John's deal.
out of whack.
Just a street, I mean.
Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. All those opposed signify by saying nay. Motion carried.
My next item, the 2025 improvements project. We're getting ready to go into the construction phase.
The new store. This is the one-stop shop. We have a pharmacy. We have a bootlegger's liquor. The deli, the food that you can get at a lunchtime is so amazing. The coffee shop. Certain Friday mornings, there's 30 people sitting here in all these chairs. This is the hub for people to come and visit, have their coffee, have their donuts. It's amazing what this area has done. Totally amazing.
My next item, the 2025 improvements project. We're getting ready to go into the construction phase. We have the engineering associates agreement for the construction phase of the 2025 improvements project, both phase 1 and phase 2. We reviewed the documents, everything's in order. I would recommend the mayor sign the short form agreement between engineering associates and ourselves for the 2025 improvements construction phase.
Does the council entertain a motion for me to sign the short form of agreement between owner and engineer for professional services?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
We have a motion properly seconded. Is there any discussion? Is there any discussion?
I'm looking for the total costs. For this one here, I see one and each for 20,000, but you don't total agreement cost.
It's not to exceed $277,900, I believe.
For the engineering,
Yes.
I retract my motion.
They're expensive, I'm not gonna lie.
What's the cost of the project?
$2.168 million.
Okay.
I know you said it in jest.
Oh, I did. I don't retract my.
Okay, thank you for that.
It was in jest.
This is pretty serious business right
Yeah,
now.
and I just want to be sure, you know, what I'm reading, basically what I'm agreeing to, that what we're doing. I'm having a hard time trying to find that total cost.
And it's really hard to tell until a project's done, because there could be other things that come up in the midst of the work. Especially in the old part of town, we have a lot of unknowns.
Yeah, I hate agreeing to an open checkbook without having some number.
Where did you come up with that 200,000 number?
I'm looking for it again here. Just a second.
Page, or the back of the first page.
2.03 section. Or until right above that, number 3.
Number 3 under 2.02, basis of payment hourly rates plus reimbursable expenses.
Okay, 277,950.
Let me see that.
The total compensation for services and reimbursable expenses will not exceed $277,950
You were on the right page.
without a change in scope of services properly executed by both parties to the agreement.
Typically, engineering is 20% of the project. With a $2,168,000 bid, that'd be $433,600. Would be 20%.
Thank you.
Is there any further discussion?
So we'll get the deal then?
You're getting about 10%.
Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. All those opposed signify by saying nay. Motion carries.
should have, my next item, your next, the Newcastle 2025 improvements, phase 1 and phase 2 project. You should have the bid schedule for this project. The SRF has approved the recommendation for the 2025 improvements project. Go to Hot Iron Incorporated for the price of $2,168,616.68. I would recommend we award the 2025 improvements phase 1 and phase 2 project to Hot Iron Incorporated.
Do we have a motion for the mayor to sign the Newcastle 2025 improvements phase 1 and phase 2 to Hot Iron Incorporated for the price of $2,168,616.68.
Your Honor, I move that we award Hot Iron Inc. and you sign their agreement for $2,168,616.68 for phase 1 and phase 2 of the 25-26 improvement project.
We have a second? Second. We have a motion properly seconded. Is there any discussion?
One, I guess, on the front page, you're showing hot iron unit prices. Their total bid base was $2 million, $57.57. Just going through the tabulation to see where the correlation was with the $2,168,000.
So base bid schedule number 3, I believe is where's that? No.
It's on this.
What it is, we requested an alternative, 2 different alternatives. One to pour concrete across the entire project for street. That includes the south, the east Wentworth section, which had to be required to be concrete because of the slope. It's really difficult to hold asphalt on that much of a slope. We looked at doing either asphalt or concrete on the north section. The contractors, we asked for bids for each item on north and north. The difference in $168,000 was the addition of the asphalt. The alternative for concrete was $344,000 and some odd dollars. So we chose asphalt as an alternative, which increased the price to $168,000.
So would each one of them raise that $167,000? Because if I go through the tabulation for the hot iron and the Hayworth and the Dan Hart, all the way down through even the schedule 3 on the back page.
I apologize, it's schedule 4.
The schedule 4 on the bottom page comes up with that $2,057.57, which matches on the first page. And then the Hayworth Enterprise is saying there's a $2,218,000. So it's very close to that $2,168,000. And then you get Dan Hart's at $2,766,000, which matches the front page. So I'm just trying to correlate.
How does this fit? So this one here?
Oh, here's this one.
Problem with the Hayworth Enterprises, they're a South Dakota bidder, so we automatically have to add the 5% on it.
What were you looking at? What's that first one?
Well, I was looking at this one here with the bid.
Yeah.
This one's different from that.
Yeah, so this one here must be different than this big sheet. All right.
What are we looking at?
Why is it different?
Because we did the two bid alternatives.
Okay, all right. And then one's concrete, one was asphaltic.
Correct.
Okay.
We were looking to get the best product for the project.
Now I'm on the big sheet instead of the small sheet, so I'm following through the numbers now. Okay.
Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. All those opposed signify by saying nay. Motion carried.
Thank you. This is been a work in progress, pretty hard work in progress up to this point. So, got 2 years worth of work.
Now, congratulations, it's finally coming together, it's beautiful. Good work.
Hopefully.
Good.
We'll see what it turns out like in a year. One other item, at one of the past council meetings, Ms. Jen Womack had mentioned issues with the crosswalks on Main Street and some governance of them. We have some portable signs that we can put up that say pedestrians, yield to pedestrians and crosswalks. The problem is they've been drove over so many times, the signs are junk. And we really need to replace the signs on them if we're going to use them. We have used them in the past, but like I said, the signs they're on plastic, they're junk. We did get a quote to replace all the signs on the portable stands, and they'd be $477.40.
Can you get them made out of concrete?
No, I can't, because I can't damage somebody's car.
I prefer that we'd look into cost of those lighted crossing lights that you push the button and overheating lights, because like I said, the signs we put out there are eventually just gonna keep getting run over. They're in the middle of the street, in the middle of that turn lane.
That's a good idea.
And if you put those lighting in there, that gets people's attention when they push the button to cross the crosswalks.
And that would probably be a hard pressed thing to get through whiteout, because it would have to be whiteout that does it. We talked to them about putting a crosswalk at Dow Park, because our pathway is on the south side of the highway, Dow Park's on the north side. And I got kind of a, in no uncertain terms, full deadline. So I don't know if the whiteout would be willing to put up the flashing signs for the crosswalk. I can inquire about it.
It's worth a shot, right?
You're talking about if you push the button, it turns red, and they can walk.
Well, they have like an LED flashing lights that it's, you know,
Are the crosswalks even marked? I can't even.
yeah.
They are marked?
Yeah.
Are they officially marked?
It's whiteout that takes care of thermoplastic.
Right.
Thermoplastic
Are you talking?
crosswalk material.
Yeah.
So
They don't have
How about the one on
lights
Railroad
there.
and Main?
No, but
I
there
know
will
those
be
that run over there.
lighting that will be installed.
Like if you push the button.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not red.
what's that now?
They would put lights
The one on Railroad.
that would flash when
in front of
somebody wanted to
their
cross.
place,
Just
on
like-
Railroad and Main.
Yeah,
I won't have to
crosswalk
run over
sign
there
on them,
because
push the sign on, and the lights would sit there and flash.
Highway department
when
says
someone
it's
comes
a
on
legal
across.
crosswalk.
Yeah, that's marked.
I understand that, it's not a red, green, no. Okay.
We don't have any red green down
Even with the signs out there in the middle, I've actually seen where people just don't stop for pedestrians.
I've crossed the sidewalk better than, or crosswalk and people don't stop for me, so.
And people will stop at the post office in the middle of the road before the crosswalk, because people will cross in the middle of the street and not use the crosswalk.
They stop as jaywalkers, but they don't stop at the crosswalk.
Yep.
Yeah. It happens every day.
Yep.
This would be one alternative we can do right away. It takes about 30 days to get the signs.
Does the council entertain a motion to get the temporary or the crosswalk signs to tide us over until we can research the the lights.
So where are you gonna put the sign?
I'd make a motion
There's
to
intersections.
At the,
order the.
on the edges or in the middle?
Signs in the meantime.
In the middle, in the turning lane.
On the yellow.
Gentlemen, we have a motion being made on the floor.
And I second it.
Okay, we have a motion properly seconded. Is there any discussion?
You hadn't got to the.
Is there any discussion? You guys were just discussing.
I'm done.
You're done?
Yeah.
Okay. Is there any discussion?
Yeah, you're talking like the crosswalks they have in Custer on all the streets leading into downtown.
It'd be similar to that, Deadwood,
Yeah.
you know, Rapid City, different places that.
Okay.
It'd be similar to that, Deadwood,
Yeah.
you know, Rapid City, different places that.
Okay. Thanks.
Yes, sir. All those, is there any more discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. All those opposed signify by saying nay. Motion carries.
My last item, I was discussing with District Engineer Scott Taylor with YDOT about upcoming projects and projects that we could piggyback off of. I've been looking at Morrissey Road for a significant amount of time and what to do with it. 2029, you'll have a project close enough that we could do a mill and overlay on Morrissey Road, but we do not actually own it. I would like permission from the council to visit with the county commissioners to begin planning a project to mill and overlay the county road Morrissey Road and schedule it for a 2029 construction season.
I make a motion that we pursue this.
Second.
We have a motion properly seconded. Is there any discussion? Is there any discussion?
I've done this before on the old highway up north with the county to help, you know, do that chip seal project. And then also, I believe we're working on the same one on Old 85 to tie into their project when they're doing that bridge project. So I think this is good that we are wanting to try to work with the county and that serves a lot of the residents out there.
Yeah, it serves the whole neighborhood. So, yeah, and then, yeah, it needs it. And then one of the number one complaints that we get from citizens in our community is about the condition of our streets and roads. So I think this would be great, a good partnership. So, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. All those opposed signify by saying nay. Motion passes.
That's all I have unless there's questions on my reports.
Any more further questions for Public Works Supervisor Stumpf?
I have one. How's our water situation doing?
Which one?
The one we've been talking about with the chlorine and.
It's moving forward. They've got some profiling plans done now. We've run into a hitch trying to get with our SCADA company to get that ironed out for their electrical engineer. But they surveyed everything, they're putting plans together right now.
Okay.
I do think this is something we really need to get the information out to the public before we end up turning on the ordinance. We're still a ways out, but this is definitely something I think we need to inform the public about.
And then I had one follow-up question too. Was anybody at the shop able to find a Cedar Street sign?
They're ordered.
They're ordered? Okay.
We're gonna do that's why we decided to do yield signs now. We're putting together an order for the Cedar Street. The speed limit signs you requested on Second Avenue, they poured the concrete for the breakaway bases. So they'll be up hopefully the end of this week, towards the end of this week. So.
One of my constituents said that if there was one thing that they would like to see me get done as the mayor of the city of Newcastle, it would be to get a Cedar Street sign because the current one is misspelled. It says C-E-D-E-R. So I was just trying to make right on a campaign process.
And all of our current signs are spelled the same way, so we're getting new ones.
The backup signs are spelled the same. Okay. Is there any further questions for Public Works Supervisor? Hearing none, we'll move on to Police Chief Derek Thompson.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. First item are the calls for service from May 19th to today. Newcastle Police Department 143, Weston County Sheriff's Office 126, Upton Police Department 0, Newcastle Volunteer Fire Department 3, Weston County Fire Protection District 2, Upton Volunteer Fire Department 0, Newcastle Ambulance 11, Upton Ambulance 7, and the in-person contacts at dispatch for the month of May was 121. My second item is I would like to request from the council permission to put out for bid 2 new patrol vehicles. And in your information there, I gave you some numbers. I got a preliminary bid from John Jones Police Pursuit Vehicles, which is where we purchased the last 2 from. We're trying not to repeat that debacle, by the way. The preliminary bid per vehicle was $61,632.50, plus an $1,800 per vehicle delivery fee, for a grand total of just slightly less than $127,000. These 2 vehicles would not have the police radios in them, and they would not be decaled. The reason for that, those radios are somewhere in the hunt of $10,000 a piece. We have radios in vehicles we've taken out of service that are still perfectly fine. They're still supported by Motorola, so there's no reason to buy new radios at this time. So they'll be pre-wired. We basically just take the radio head and the actual radio out of the other ones, plug it into the new vehicle, we're good to go. And then we'll get our decals down here at Wilder Graphic Design. Just a little background on our fleet. We currently have 5 vehicles that are, I would consider, reliable, and they're currently in service now. Obviously, we have 8 positions for officers, so we're shy on vehicles. We don't have those 8 officers right now. We do have 1 still in the hiring process. We do have an old Chevy Tahoe that can work probably temporarily. It's in very poor condition. The radar only works one direction when it works. The seat's falling apart, the paint's falling off of it. It looks terrible, it runs terrible. It would take a lot of money to get it back up to snuff, and even then it would still be
Terrible.
terrible. So, and then we do have that gray Durango. It's not properly outfitted. I believe it's lacking a radar and possibly a couple other things. I did get a radar for free from the Campbell County Sheriff's Office. It's a stalker radar, and I think it's still a good radar. They just have more money than God, so they just buy new things every time around. So we got some surplus stuff from them. All we have to do for that is buy the cables that go with it, basically to install it. And the cables are $300 to $400, they estimated. So we could make a full-blown, fully outfitted patrol vehicle out of that one. It is old, but it doesn't have a ton of miles on it. It's got 78,000 or 80,000 somewhere in there on it. So that's the other vehicle we could get brought up to snuff. And with these other 2 vehicles, that would complete us out of the 8 total vehicles, so, that are, I would say, good to go.
Does the council entertain a motion to move forward with allowing the chief to go through the bid process for 2 new vehicles?
This will move that we approve the purchase of or a bid for the 2 vehicles and the chief to go off the bid.
Second.
We have a motion properly seconded. Is there any discussion? Is there any discussion? Is there any discussion?
Yeah, so you've got 5 working vehicles, and you want 2 new ones, but you don't have officers to drive.
Correct.
So they're gonna sit till somebody's in them?
Yes. Well, the new ones won't sit. We'll probably put the new ones in service and take the 2 oldest and let them sit until we get people to drive them. But we're actively trying to hire people. We've got quite a few applications out, so I'm hopeful that we're going to have people to fill those vehicles, and I don't want to have people with no vehicles to drive, so.
Yeah, I just can't see vehicles sitting while they're under warranty.
Those ones are not gonna sit.
That's just my deal.
That's the oldest ones are gonna, the 3 of the 5 that we have right now are no longer under warranty, so they'll be the ones that sit.
So you'll have some nice new vehicles with the new car smell for the officers to ride around in.
Until that first call that's, real bad and they don't smell like that anymore.
We have a motion properly seconded. Is there any further discussion?
How are the 2 new Durangos working out?
So far, good. We steered away from the V8 Hemi. Those don't seem to stand up very well. They have all sorts of different problems. We stuck with that V6. I think it's a 10-star V6 that's been around forever, and I think they're going to hold up better. So that's the way I guess I forgot about this part, but I had engineer Bartlett put together the bid for us. I didn't want to print out the 10 pages or whatever it is for everybody to waste all that paper. So if anybody would like to look at this, I'd be glad to hand it around. So, but yes, to answer your question, so far they're working out good.
Chief, are these vehicles you're gonna have them bought and paid for before the new fiscal year, or is this on last year's budget?
That's written right into the bid.
Okay.
I'm sure hoping it works out.
All right.
It says must be invoiced on or before June 30th.
So we're covered, in other words.
Yeah. Yep.
So the new vehicles will be circulated in, but the old ones will be parked.
Yes.
What about upkeep on those? Like batteries and?
One of those, I have the battery maintainers for it. I just gotta get them put in it. And that one of them, for whatever reason, has blue batteries in it, so I had to buy 2 battery maintainers for it. But, we're talking $50 or whatever they were. So you save one set of batteries and you definitely got your $50 back. And then they're ready to go at any point in time. But the other thing I want to do is every once in a while cycle somebody into those so they get a little bit of use. Because I understand where you're coming from. Sitting is just about as bad as anything or worse sometimes. So we're going to cycle people through them a little bit. Keep the seals wet and keep the batteries up on them so they're good to go.
I have a question. Are all 5 vehicles that you currently have being used at the same time?
Yep. As far as?
It's like you can't, so 3 are being used and 2 aren't being used during an 8-hour shift?
Yeah, so they're not everybody's on duty at the same time.
So people can switch into those cars?
They could.
Is there a reason not to? I know.
There's all sorts of different ways to look at it. There are times when every single person that they have employed is on duty. So that's a benefit of everybody having one. But the other benefit to it, I guess, is if you have the 8 and then, you have something go wrong with one, then they can start cycling back and forth. But if you just have just enough, and then you say you have 4 vehicles, because that's the maximum that's usually ever on duty at one time. This is in theory, I'm saying. And then one of those goes down, and then you have a person essentially afloat. So there's just kind of different ways to look at it. Yeah, I understand where you're coming from. We could, you know, one person gets off, the other person gets in it, and goes on duty.
Okay, thank you.
Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. All those opposed signify by saying nay. Motion carries. You get some new powers, Chief.
Thank you, I appreciate it. And the last item was just to let you all know that Channing Lutz started today as our new CSO. I estimate she'll be in training for between 6 and 8 weeks. But within the next couple of weeks, we're going to start working directly on the ordinance enforcement, but she'll be able to supervision of a trainer. It will probably be me. That's all I had.
Does anybody else have any questions for Chief?
That's all I had.
Does anybody else have any questions for Chief? Hearing none, we'll move on to item number 3, Department Head Reports, Attorney Dublin Hughes.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Council, first thing I wanted to bring up is that Thursday, Friday of this week I will be gone. And then the last thing that I wanted to discuss is that ordinance number 4 and ordinance number 5. For ordinance number 4, this is the repeal of section 17-14, and this is the obscenity ordinance that the chief and I both recommended to repeal. And I'd be looking for a motion to approve the repeal of that ordinance.
I move we repeal that ordinance. Number 4 or number 5? 4. Number 4. I move that we pass number 4 to repeal the ordinance about the archaic on the books law, the ordinance that we have.
Do we have a second for the repealing of ordinance number 4?
I second.
Okay, we have a motion properly seconded. Is there any discussion? Do I need to read the ordinance?
After it's,
Repeal.
or excuse me. It would be, I would read it, yeah, sorry, I didn't even think about that.
Okay, sorry, I'll go.
No, that's my fault. I was sitting there thinking about it being repealed, so, no, we're just getting rid of it. No, we still can't do that.
Okay. So ordinance number 4, an ordinance repealing ordinance section 17-14 of the Newcastle Town Code, be it ordained by the City Council of the City of Newcastle, Weston County, Wyoming, section 17-14 of the Newcastle, Wyoming Municipal Code be repealed in its entirety, and from the date of execution of this ordinance be of no further force in effect. So we have a motion properly seconded to repeal. Is there any discussion? Is there any discussion? Is there any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. All those opposed signify by saying nay. The motion passes.
Thank you, Council.
I like the old one.
Then, Council, the second repeal ordinance that we have is ordinance number 5, and it is for the unlawful carrying of weapons in the city.
Ordinance number 5, 2025, an ordinance repealing ordinance section 17-27 of the Newcastle Town Code, be it ordained by the City Council of the City of Newcastle, Weston County, Wyoming, section 17-27 of the Newcastle, Wyoming Municipal Code, be repealed in its entirety, and from the date of execution of this ordinance be of no further force and effect. We have a motion to approve ordinance number 5 and an ordinance repealing ordinance.
So moved.
We have a second. Second. We have a motion properly seconded. Is there any discussion?
I think this is a wonderful ordinance to repeal and, get the guns back out there.
Any discussion? Any discussion? Okay. Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. All those opposed signify by saying nay. Motion carries.
Your Honor, isn't it the fact that we repealed that because it's state law, that it goes against state law?
Right.
Correct. Yeah, the other thing, I didn't see that in the second section of it. It's definitely written in 1889. There's a portion of it that says that the city chief of police will arrest with or without warrant. So, I think that was a good move.
With or without warrant?
Yeah.
Just like the
Pay
Gestapo.
$1,000 and then we can get sued.
That's what the KGB did in Russia.
Another military.
Okay. Moving on. Was there anything further?
Oh, apologies, Mayor. No, that's all I have. Thank you, council.
Does anybody have any questions for Attorney Dublin Hughes?
Just good job, attorney. I like that. I like repealing laws.
All right, moving on to item number 4 under department head reports. Clerk Treasurer Stacey Haggard.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. First of all, I wanted to give an update on our budget billing pilot program. We actually only have 4 customers that are still on it. We initially had 6, with allowing 10, but only 6 people had even wanted to be put on it. 2 were off. 1 was because of the ACH chapter. We couldn't do both programs at once. 1's off due to delinquencies. We have 2 of the current 4 that still pay their bill sporadically. So we have 2 customers that actually have adhered to what the program was for. So it is June, and time to see if the council would wish to continue to offer that program, or
How much time does that take to be?
Rochelle kind of keeps an eye on it, so a little bit. I can't say as though it's, super consuming, but she does kind of keep track a little bit and, checks it periodically.
So the 4 people that are on it, is it benefiting them?
Well, again, the pilot, it's not to save money. It's just to make your bill kind of be leveled out. So they're not saving money at all.
But are they paying their bill on time?
Oh, absolutely. These customers were good
Except
customers.
the sporadic one.
I think we should keep it. For another year anyway, see what happens.
If it's not that much work for the office help,
Should we put some focus on advertising it more, because this was our biggest public concern. And then for only 6 people to have taken advantage of a 10-spot program, when there was so much public outrage, is kind of mystifying to me. But do we need to go ahead and entertain a motion to keep?
When did you enact this?
In January.
In January? Yeah, I think it would be good to go through the summer and see if you can pick some people up to see what happens through the summer.
Summer water usage.
Yeah, summer water usage.
but maybe we should advertise, because maybe people,
Yeah, I think we're gonna have to advertise and let people know that it's out there.
yeah.
And just see what happens through the summer with the water usage, with water lawns and stuff.
So along those lines, it's only a 10-spot pilot program right now. So if we advertise and then we end up having more people come forward than just 10 slots. Should we open it up a little bit to see?
I think so, because it's gonna work for a lot of people, especially those that go south for the winter. They could carry over that'd be better for the city, because we'd have a monthly income that's pretty steady, instead of up and down.
So if in that line, how big do we have the capacity to open it up to, Stacy?
To be honest, it wasn't, other than, I'm comfortable with opening it. I mean, we can advertise for maybe a month and see how many more people would like to, sign up and go from there. Putting them on that budget billing isn't difficult. It's a matter of doing a few computer adjustments.
So there's not a limit that you have to keep it to?
Yeah.
So we continue with the pilot program, but just see how many people. So just open it up to however many people show up to try to take advantage of the service. So do we have a motion to maintain the pilot program for an undetermined amount of customers, first come, first serve?
Would you like to do it till November when we go off of sewer averaging? Would that be appropriate?
I think so.
Yeah.
Okay. So would one of the council like to put that in their words and make a motion?
Go ahead, John.
Let's see here. I make a motion that we continue our program for water averaging payments until November, the end of November. We advertise it in the paper to open it up to unlimited number of people that want to use it.
So we have a motion, do we have a second?
Second.
So we have a motion properly seconded, is there any discussion? Is there any discussion? Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed signify by saying nay. Motion carries. Thanks, Lisa.
Thank you. And then my second item is I had sent emails out to everybody about our investments. That's not a topic of discussion that's been had, to my knowledge, since I've been in this position. So I just wanted to make sure the council understood that, or if they have any questions.
So,
I have a question.
oh, go ahead.
Okay, so we give Alexis all this information, she's gonna write a story about it. Isn't all this money spoken for? I mean, it isn't like we have,
Correct.
it's not, but I want her to know that.
Oh, she absolutely, yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Stacy and I had spoken about this a little bit because I was curious about our investments. Because a lot of other communities that I visit through the course of my work invest heavily in WyoStar and they monitor it. But since I've been on the council, I haven't really been too keen on really knowing about our investments or our investment strategy. So it's actually something that I think that the LGLP might actually provide some training on. So if the council's favorable to the idea of attending some extra training, I could reach out to the LGLP and see if they could come and give us a block of instruction on investments.
Definitely, that's a good idea.
Okay. Well, I'll do that. I'll reach out to them. And yeah, so I think it's important. So
That's all I have.
okay, does anybody else or anybody have any further questions for Clerk Treasurer Stacy Haggerty? All right, moving on to claims against the city dated June 2nd, 2025, but I need to add an amendment. We need to add the checks that I missed last council meeting. So check number 053620 and 053624 to the claims, the current claims. And if anybody needs a refresher, I have them right here if you want to look at them. Does anybody need to look at them? Look at them this time. Okay, do we have a motion to pay the claims against the city?
Your Honor, I move that this August body pay its bills, including those two that we messed up or did something with last time.
Okay, we have a motion, do we have a second?
Second.
We have a motion properly seconded, is there any discussion? Is there any discussion? Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. All those opposed signify by saying nay. Motion passes. Do we have a motion to adjourn?
Motion we adjourn.
We have a motion, is there a second? We have a motion properly seconded, is there any discussion? Is there any discussion? Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Meeting's closed at 8:28.
It's a nice.
Oh, I never asked for a nay, did anybody want?
Mr. Mayor, thank you for the.
I'm very remiss.
I got an autograph from the mayor. They will. Thank you.